I gotta check and make sure that the water got turned off. But yes. So do I still cull the beetles after 3 months? And question about mixing. You're correct about mixing old and new beetles. So yes, I do still cull beetles at approximately 3 months. I say approximately because it really depends on the timing. Like if the stack of trays, I do it by stack. Every week is a new cohort of beetles, and so every 3 months, I will remove the oldest cohort, unless it's like a Saturday, and I'm doing beetle swap on Friday. Then I'll go ahead and remove it, even though it hasn't hit that date yet, right? Sorry, just doing some walking here, trying not to fall. From a mixing perspective, yes, I mix. Yep, it's off. Okay, we're cool. I do mix in fresh beetles with older trays. And I do that because when I am making up new trays, every now and then I'll get an oddball at the end, right? So I'll weigh out to get, right now I'm putting 2,000 beetles in per tray. Let's say at the end of all the trays that I make after that session, I have 100 grams of beetles left. It's not enough to put into a tray and start a tray. I don't want to track it and have to monitor it for later. So what I'll do is I'll just take those 100 grams, and I will take that and distribute it in the oldest trays, just to give them some fresh egg layers or fresh maters. And so maters, I don't know where that came from. The reason I do that is just to give those older trays that aren't producing as much, because as the beetles get older, their production, egg laying production goes down. And so adding in some additional beetles towards the end of that tray's time in the farm just gives them a little oomph. Part of me does wonder if that's a bad idea, though. And what I mean by that is what I've noticed whenever I'm collecting beetles is that the darker beetles in a large container where I put all the beetles, if I let them just sit for a minute, all of the darker beetles migrate towards each other, and all of the lighter beetles migrate towards each other. It's an age thing, right? The darker beetles are just a little bit older than the lighter beetles. I wonder if they're doing that on purpose, and I wonder if by adding in young beetles into an already established tray of beetles that are older, I wonder if I'm causing problems. Something to think about and research, about like adding in a different cohort of beetles into an already existing cohort. I've had quite a bit of die-off in those trays, but I think most of it is attributed to the very violent shaking, from the beetles' perspective, very violent, that I do beetle swap with. So I'll pour the tray into a wire mesh and then shake that just to get all the substrate to fall through, and then put the beetles in fresh substrate. And what I'm wondering is, my theory right now is that that process is hurting the beetles, injuring them, potentially killing some. And so once I switch over to a mesh insert, I'm going to monitor the die-off and see if that trend gets better, like there's less die-off. And then also analyze the, like if there's still the same amount of die-off, is there a nutrient issue? Or should I stop adding those beetles in? Like, are they fighting and killing each other when I add in the fresh beetles to those already established trays? Something just to monitor and play with over time. It's going to take a while. I'm waiting for the inserts to come in. That's going to be probably a couple months. Get them in rotation slowly so that I don't make too many changes at once and mess anything up. And then we'll kind of see what happens. So good question. I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any more.